I was experiencing something in my body I've never experienced before. And it's like for 2 hours, my entire body just exploded. It has been the mystical experience that allowed me to embody my divinity in a very profound and very alive way. It's like in that one moment, I did access my superpowers, and it's definitely a Pandora box. You open it, there's infinity of gifts that keeps on giving and opening, and there's a big exploration to make here. It was too powerful to say no to. It was too powerful to listen to the doubt. There was just always one thing coming through. I want to do this my entire life. Can I do this the entire time that I am alive? This magic that is occurring, that really is the best thing in the world. It's like, this is our home. If we all remember that, the world is safe, the world is peaceful, the world is thriving. So I see Heka changing the face of the world. Definitely the most powerful process I've encountered, and that's why I've been devoting my entire life and my entire self to it. I'm so happy to be here with you, my dear Heather. Welcome on this channel.
Thank you.
And for all of you, I am super pleased today to be creating this video in this moment with my dear friend Heather. We are right now in Corfu Island in Greece, and we had this beautiful idea to come together and ask each other some questions. So right now it's this moment that Heather will be hosting this interview and ask me different questions, and we're going to dive into topics and see what the channels are wanting to bring through, and what is alive, what is meant for you to receive. So thank you for being here. We hope you will like it.
Oh yes, and I am so excited. This is honestly like a dream for me. Very divine to just be here with you. And really just to get to ask you these questions. I feel like not only will I'm sure it'll be nourishing for your audience, but it'll be nourishing for me too. To just really, I want to dive into Heka. I want to dive into you, into the portals that you create, the activations you create, how they came to be, so many things. So I'll start with one at a time.
Yay! Thank you.
So I'd love to just even ask you, like, what is Heka? You know, beyond just the words and just like really through the soul and the spirit. What does Heka mean to you?
Thank you. It's such a vast question.
I'm sure.
Like literally every time I open a Heka activation space, I have to introduce it.
Okay, yeah.
There is not one time, and I've done thousands. There is not one time that I said the same thing. So it's an infinite ways of describing it. I would say what is coming through right now is that it is, of course, the force of life. It is the magic creation strength and force and current of the gods, of what life is at its original essence. But more than that, in a more embodied, concrete way, here and now, what it is to me, it has been the spiritual process that allowed me to come back fully to myself as a multidimensional being of light, as a powerful, awakened, living being on this earth, awakened to way more dimensions than just the physical. And now on this journey of embodying the divinity that I have been re-encountering, remembering. And it, to me, if I can say it this way, it has been the mystical experience that allowed me to embody my divinity in a very profound and very alive way. And it's definitely a Pandora box. You open it, there's infinity of gifts that keeps on giving and opening, and there's a big exploration to make here. And every space of Heka that I come to and that I've surrendered myself, surrendered my mind, surrendered my questions or judgments, I have been able to dive even deeper into what it means to be alive, to be divine, what life is in its most essential existential way and form and formlessness as well. So yeah, Heka is the reclamation of that. It truly is an actual process that you can come into. It's a session with a facilitator holding a certain frequency that you can come into, surrender everything that you think you should be or do, do absolutely nothing, lay down and let this magic that I just described happen on its own. So it has been the most beautiful path of surrendering. It's very humbling because we're coming back to the original felt experience of what it means to exist, of us. It's allowing this authenticity of our own soul's expression to come through also. Because when we strip away, all the density, all that was kind of conditioned or created by the human mind, and we come back to the divine mind, we are actually accessing so much more of the purity of our soul and what our soul is actually about in its simple expression, but also its creation. What are you meant to create here on this earth, in this life? So it's a whole journey and it has a whole plan. It's very, very powerful. Definitely the most powerful process I've encountered, and that's why I've been devoting my entire life and my entire self to it.
So powerful. I love it so much. It really sounds just like a full soul activation and alignment. And it makes me have so many questions. So I'm excited. I would love to hear a little bit of your own personal journey of what has it been like for you to have Heka come through? How did that happen? What was that like for you? Let's start there.
Thank you. I love this question. I used to rarely talk about this, and then some of my students started to ask this question, and whenever I was sharing the story, I was so excited about it. And the reaction in people, the resonance that it was actually creating in them was really powerful. So I actually love to share that now. How did that happen? Definitely lifelong process, a little bit the same way as your story. It's like what you shared earlier when you were talking about, all your life having those questions, all your life knowing that there is so much more. Well, that was my experience too. So my entire childhood was just questions after questions, and literally no one had the answer around me or a beginning of answer. And so I was just like the very questionate person. And after many, many years of struggling actually to find my place and find a meaning of this life and this world, I was finally around 18 years old, led to read different books. The first one was on quantum physics applied to reality, to life. That blew my mind away because everything that they were talking about the fabric and the physics of our universe, it just finally made sense. And it explained everything that I've been feeling my entire life. So after I received those first types of answers, it kind of opened up a world for me to dive into. And so I started to dedicate my time to it. Years after years, I was giving more time to studying all different currents of spiritual philosophy, spiritual currents, different modalities. So I dive very deep, very quick. I think I was 20 when I started to study energetics. So energy healing like Reiki, access bars, sound healing, different things. I went to hypnotherapy school, NLP. So I started to really dedicate all my time to it. But at this point, it was very much from a mind level. And I could see and I could feel that in my body, it was still, even though those spiritual truths and wisdom I was being given and accessing and sometimes experiencing, it was so real and it was awakening a lot of potential, I would say, in how I feel, what I believe is possible for the future in this life, a little bit of magic here and there. I was still feeling very limited in my capacity to experience all of me and to experience all of magic and what is possible, what my soul just knew, but my mind didn't dare to go look into yet. And then COVID happened. Hallelujah. For many of us, it was a big awakening moment. Yeah. And so for me, it happened the same. I had to close my practice in the city and I had to dive even deeper into what I didn't want to see. And one thing that I was pushing away for years, it was going back to Bali. So very long story fast tracked. When I went to Bali, this is where the actual embodiment of all that I had studied started to happen. Okay. And so I started to have like this physical lived experience of my own self with meeting other souls like-minded, other hearts open in the same way and having the same questions of life. And so this started to open my body physically in a different way, where I started to dance. I started to express myself. So this really helped. And then there was one moment. So I told you all of this because this wasn't the entire preparation on many levels. My mind, my human childhood story, my physical body, my heart, being like faithful enough in the unknown and the unseen that I believed so much was magic and miraculous that I could jump headfirst, leave everything I knew and go to Bali and live my life as I don't know what, but something magical would occur. So it took all of those steps for me to actually say yes to life and also have my system prepared for what was happening then. And so that next part that happened was Kundalini awakening. That happened when the first time actually I entered what people call a Kundalini activation session. So I went to this session very soul-led. And when I lay down on the mat, and actually even before, when the woman was explaining whatever she was explaining, my mind was completely gone. I was experiencing something in my body I've never experienced before. And it's like for 2 hours, my entire body just exploded. And everything just went kaboom inside of me and outside. And it was like a release and activation, everything all at once. And like the emotions, the visions, the body movements, everything just happened in one moment in a big bang. It was like a big bang of just life happening, finally. After this moment, I stayed very, very high for 3 days. So I stayed in one room and just day and night being absolutely on another plane of existence and integrating that newness because I couldn't feel my physical body anymore. I was just feeling pure light while I was fully embodied here and now. It's not like I closed my eyes and went somewhere else. Yeah. I was fully here. But my body and my senses became something else. So it's like in that one moment, I did access my superpowers. Yeah. And then it took me a few years to integrate it properly. But what's interesting here is that it was really a part of my soul design to birth Heka and whatever is next. But birthing Heka was one of my big purpose. So that one moment when I went into the Kundalini activation that they called, and it was such a similar design as Heka, it was such a big soul remembrance of like, this is it, guys. Like I always imagine my higher self and my guys saying like, yes, she's there. It's like, this is it, guys, she's there. This is a moment. And so a month after this one experience, when I started to integrate it, I went back again. And in that second session, it happened again. This time even more integrated. But it happened again. And I really felt I had no knowledge about all of this. I really thought that the woman was a goddess and that she was doing like something extraordinary to us. But that second session, when it happened again in my system, I just felt like something else was present. And so right after it, I went to this place, Sayuri, that we know in Bali, in Ubud, with my friend. And we went upstairs on the couches. And we were like vibing. It was just, ending the session. And everything was so alive. And I told her, I was like, I think it's in us. I think we can access that kind of power and beautiful flow inside. I think it's us. What if we put a music now, we lay down, we surrender, and we see what happens? And so that's how it started. We lay down and the full expansion of God within just happened in the body. And in that moment, something else happened inside of me that is super, deeply intimate to my journey. But it felt like this frequency, this higher frequency, I had finally touched and unlocked inside of my whole template. It started to talk to me through my intuition, and they kind of merged. And this became a big part of me, a very high part that was speaking. And what it wanted was for me to transmit. I was using this word, but of course it wasn't from me to the person. It was from source to source, but using me as a vessel for it. And so that day I called a couple of friends. I was like, I don't know what's happening, but there's something happening inside of me and it has to be moving. Do you want to come over, lay down, and something happens? Yes. And my two friends said yes. So they came that night and I was like, I have no idea what's happening. But I had just started to run around them and just like trying to surrender myself to allow it. Yeah. And it happened. It happened for them. They could feel the resonance. They felt this flow inside of them. So that's how the story started. And then the birth of Heka Well, I started to really devote myself to this transmission and understand it, because at the time, that was almost 4 years ago, there was not a lot of facilitators in the world of these frequencies, not a lot of those spaces that are, not led by a breath work or a visualization exercise. It was such a weird thing to do and encourage people to come into. It's like, come, lay down, do nothing, and something will happen. Like, I couldn't even explain why it was happening and how. So it became really difficult to answer some questions of the minds, even of my mind, that was doubting a lot. But the energy and this intuition, this flow that was just leading me from this moment onward, it was too powerful to say no to. It was too powerful to listen to the doubt. And so I started to give a lot of sessions, group sessions, one-ones, in online, in person, and gathering a lot of information, understanding what is this, and seeing it evolve. I saw the frequency evolve and the space evolve, and it became more and more pristine, more and more divine, and more synced and linked to the Sophia Christ consciousness, to Isis lineage of magic, to many light beings and higher realm consciousnesses that would come through those spaces and elevate the souls and elevate the experiences that the people were having, and help them harmonize and free karma and free trauma. So I saw the space evolving over the years. And I knew that Kundalini activation was not the right term for it, at least in my space that I was giving. And so I started to call it Life Force Activation. And after a while, I was in Egypt, and I was leading my first journey there with Heka initiation. So really calling in the people that felt the same way I felt at the very beginning, this unspeakable calling of your soul, where there is such a similar design here, and you are meant to carry this light, and you don't know how or why, but this is for you. And so those people would come to me, and I would lead them into this very mystical initiation. And so first time that I do that in Egypt, and I was about to welcome them and just meditating on my own for a week before, and my guides came to me one day meditating on the Nile, and they spoke and they said, you are to carry Heka Portal name. This is what you're doing right now, and you have to own it and carry this name. And then later I was like, what is this? I went to look online, like, what is Heka? And actually, in ancient Egyptian, Heka is the name that they gave to the force of life, the magic with a big M. It's almost like seen as a god to them, because it is the force of creation. So it made all the sense in the world, because we're not activating solely Kundalini at all. We're activating the multidimensional life-giving current and force and power and truth. We are remembering truth with this process. So I'm very honored to carry this in the world right now.
Wow. Full goosebumps. I'm like, I'm vibrating. Wow, so beautiful and powerful. And also, I really appreciate you sharing your personal experiences. You were saying in there about Sophia Christ consciousness. You also talked about the Isis lineage. Very curious about, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for the Heka experience? And how are these connected? I'd love to hear more about that.
Thank you. I love that question so much, because, again, there is a lot to say around these topics that some of us are unfamiliar, or some of us also judge and put in certain category.
Yes. Yeah.
So I will start by saying that for me, whenever we connect to higher consciousnesses, so to me, there are just currents of life. So when we talk about Jesus, Mother Mary, they were actual incarnated beings. Yes. And today they have elevated to a state of ascended masters, as we call them. But just like angels, just like deities, like Isis or Hathor, gods and goddesses of ancient and other times, just like, all of these beautiful light beings that for me are light consciousnesses, I see them as aspects of the divine, just like you are one and I am one too. So inherently in the oneness space of perspective of life, I see those currents as being absolute aspects of who we are, maybe more elevated in consciousness for many of them. So laying that as a foundation, that these are all parts of us, and there is no one outside that is giving me power. Like, that is not at all what is happening. We're just always, even in angelic form, we have angelic attributes and shapes and weaving also with the angelic realm here on earth. So reconnecting to those higher frequencies, to me, it is an absolute natural thing and birthright for all of us. And so the way they came to Heka, through Heka, well, I would say that every facilitator of this frequency, that a lot of people know as Kundalini activation or Life Force activation, something that is very important to understand is that every facilitator has such a unique signature. And yes, their intention matter, their devotion, their capacity to be super pure in their intention, but also their entire soul design and soul template matter a lot. It will create different variation of the energy. And so within my own soul template and my mother lineage, we are extremely connected to the divine feminine lineage of Sophia Christ, Isis, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene. So there is a priestess aspect of my own personal path and my own personal soul's journey and chose of devotion to the service for the light on earth throughout many lifetimes and many experiences, and also my lineage currently. So I would say that it really came also as this marriage between the frequency and my own devotion to it with my soul design. And so the Sophia Christ light is the absolute goddess. If we're talking about the names of the divine and the names of the goddess, Sophia would be the whole of all of the other parts. So Mother Mary is the same as Isis. And they are both Sophia. They are both carrying this absolute seed of light of the great creator, the great mother. So I don't see Sophia, for example, as a being. She is the absolute womb of creation, the life giver. And then why do I say that this is coming through in the Heka activation? It's because, honestly, of the feedbacks of people. We have noticed that the most pristine divine light is coming through in those sessions when we surrender to them. And it does feel like the absolute Sophia Christed light is embracing you in that space. It feels like a blessing from the mother. And Isis, of course, is very connected to it because Heka, I was giving this name when I was on the Nile, when I was about to lead the people in the temples of Egypt. I was right next to Philae, to Isis temple there. And she is, if we are talking like in the like a little bit lower dimension of Sophia Christ, let's say, if we talk in levels of dimension, in this level of dimension that is way above the 3D, she is holding the actual codes of the technology that is Heka. So it is the magician technology, absolutely from her lineage of priestesses and the magic that she carries. She is the goddess of magic, and many different cosmic and precise temple consciousness, precise technologies are coming through the cosmos, coming through Sirius and other planets, and coming through Isis sharings in the world. So that's why I say it's very connected, because in particular this Heka field of light, it's very alive, living light. It is coming through Isis, and it's carrying the essence of Sophia.
Wow. What is a Heka activation like for somebody? And like, what is that experience? I'm sure there's a large variety, but also how would somebody know if they're being called to that? What are some signs and symptoms?
Super interesting. So it's true that I talk a lot about like the aspect and the frequency of it, but the way it happens, actually, it's such a simple way that feels easy because the space really helps you to surrender, even though the surrender is also a process. It's not the easiest, right? To let go of control, let go of thoughts, expectations, judgments, and questions. So this is what the space invites you to. If, for example, we are hosting a group session, I will create a full, beautiful temple. So there's an altar. There's a way that I place the mats on the floor that feels right in this moment, that feels right with also the physical space I chose and the land I'm in. If I'm in France, if I'm in Bali, it's going to be a different kind of setting and a different kind of energy that wants to also support the frequency to rise in each of the being coming. So there's a preparation of the space with this temple consciousness that is absolutely not calculated. You cannot pre-plan this. It's just coming through from your presence and your devotion or devoted surrender to the frequency which you embody as the facilitator. And then the people enter the temple. So I have my own rituals to allow them in and welcome them into the sacred space. I introduce them what's about to happen, what might occur in their bodies, you know, the different sensations and expressions that the energy can take, because it can be so outward and very movement and very physical, but it can also be super emotional, just like it can be so subtle and inward and in the silence, you know, of an astral journey or a very high encounter with your higher self or light beings. So there is a lot of ways that people will experience it. And that's why I try to explain to them. And I always tell them that there is no right way. There is no way that they can succeed or not succeed.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, we come with expectations. And so it's important for them to remember how just them being here, it's enough. Just them saying yes to it, coming all this way and laying down in the space, it is done. And then the space opens. So I guide them into a small connecting, activating meditation. And I launch the music. I always have a playlist that I craft that will, you know, the frequencies and the beats of the music are supportive of the energy that is coming through and the different waves and patterns that the energy wants to take and needs to take for each body, for each soul. And what they are ready to leave in each session also, because it's very different. And so when the music begins, the transmission starts, there is no voice anymore, no words, no mental thing. People are laying down, closing eyes for 1 hour and letting go as much as they can. No question, no expectation, letting go, just being present, just being here. And the magic happens in 1 millisecond when the music begins. 1 millisecond. And of course, for me, I facilitate the space. So I dissolve myself and I become the translation of the frequency within the space. So I give my entire self to the highest light to be translated in the space. So sometimes I work in the spaciousness. I will be in the middle. I will be in the corner. And I'm just with the space. I'm allowing everything to go through my body and holding the multidimensional full space. Sometimes I'll be led by the energy to go towards one or one other person. And when that happens, there is, sometimes I'm from afar, but with them too. But when there's a locking with one or different, maybe 2 or 3 people at the same time, there are specific codes that are being mirrored through my surrendering to their surrendering. There is a mirroring of divine energies and an amplification of their divine essence coming through. And then my body translates light codes coming through for them. And so it activates in their energetic fields a certain upgrade in their bodies too, in their mind, of course, and of course their actual experience of the divine at this moment. But it activates something in their energetic entire magnetic field that will create shifts and transformation in their ascension process after the session. So yeah, after this incredibly mystical moment, I bring them back and the session slowly close with sharings, with oracle cards pull, and a lot of love. Because when we enter those space, you know, people, they just come home, absolute home. Not the home that we have known in this life, honestly. It's a different kind of home. It's like the deepest home. And so the way they are drawn to it, I like this question because very often they will see, at least for me, I will speak how it happens with me, but yeah, they will see my Instagram or they will somehow find my website and they have no idea how they found the Instagram or find the website. And I receive this message a lot. I'm like, I have no idea how, but I just saw your page. And this is the magic that I absolutely believe and surrender to and allow more than anything, more than my mind, to happen in this kind of dynamic of like people finding me. And then it's just a resonance in their heart. Either they see the words I wrote, either they see the images, the photos or videos of sessions that I could film. And when they see that, there's such a deep resonance, they feel like they're ready. something is telling them to jump into this activation or initiation training, and they have to contact me, and then we start this process together.
So powerful and beautiful, and it makes a lot of sense too. I'm so curious, what is this like for you? What is it like to be a vessel for not just only in the activations and in the sessions and the retreats that you're holding? Yes, what is it like to allow that to come through you? But what is it like really for you as a whole, your whole life, to have had Heka come through you and to have this connection with the Sophia Christ consciousness and your guides, to be gifted this, but also to have to become a vessel for this? Yeah, what's that like for you?
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is, I think my favorite question because I still remember the first time I got to facilitate this frequency, to allow it and to be the vessel. I was crying my greatest joy of being. I know that in those moments, and even now after years and years of facilitating every day, there was just always one thing coming through. I want to do this my entire life. Can I do this the entire time that I am alive? And it's incredible because this is something that I've heard from the students and the initiates that I could train and initiate in this frequency. They have the same. It's like, can we please stay here forever? Because it feels so authentic. When I am the vessel of this light, the highest light, I feel absolutely light. I feel free. I feel free of the density, very honestly. I feel like I am absolutely embodied in the fullness and the most truthful expression of who I am. And there is no other feelings like this, because you feel absolutely aligned, whole, present, alive. You feel in service. You know, when you become a vessel and you open that space for others and you see what is happening in them, you see that they are experiencing and remembering the divine in such an undeniable way that their entire life has changed in that one moment. And you see it, you feel it, because you're fully immersed in their field. And your personal self is just observing in the very background this magic that is occurring. That really is the best thing in the world. It's like, this is our home. If we all remember that, the world is safe, the world is peaceful, the world is thriving. So for me, to reconnect with this is to reconnect with what is truth, true life. And true life feels like a living field of light that is always moving us together. It's moving me in the perfect way in any moment. It's moving the other person in the perfect way in any moment. And it's moving all of us together in the perfect way in any moment. There is no question, because we surrender the mind. So we are not trying to resist or attach or control or desire more. Everything is just absolutely fulfilled. And life-giving. It's giving and it's giving and it's giving more. And you get to give so much. It's exceptional. And then to encounter high light consciousness like the Sophia Christ, to dive into my priestesshood, because, you know, for me, the psychic gifts really awakened with Heka light. Yeah. The more I surrendered myself to this field, the more I became very attuned to the subtle world. And I started to dive so deep. My meditations are no meditations no more. It's always like a very high transmission where I dive deep into the earth, and I go into her crystal core, and I jump so high on my dragon, and I go visit the higher realms, and I meet Isis face to face, and she gives me the greatest gifts. It's a God-given gift. I cannot say it better. It's a God-given gift, because it feels like we remember who we really are. And you know, when we spend our life seeking who we are, what does it all mean? What am I here for? How can I be happy here? Well, when I'm surrendered in that space, when I'm facilitating it, there is no more question. None. It's just pure bliss, and it's active, you know. It's not a passive bliss of some enlightened state where you have no thought and there is almost a numbness in the alive human world. It's not that. It's a very alive humanly embodied bliss of being divinity, fully reclaimed. So there is no better feeling I've experienced. Yeah.
Wow. So profound and wonderful and expansive too. Like I can feel as you're speaking about it, and also it's something that I honestly resonate with so deeply. So it's just I can feel it in my body. It's very beautiful. And I know you've talked about Heka portals too, and almost the people that come and are initiated, or the people that come and experience this becoming the portal. I would love to know like what that means, and like is that a similar experience for them? Like it just what you just described is magical, and I would imagine the gift that you are giving and unlocking in so many people to experience this light activation, this life force activation.
Thank you. Yeah. I see all of us anytime, even beyond the Heka activation portals, as portal. You know, we're all portals of anything. We're portals of our thoughts, of our emotions. We're carrying different frequencies and we are emanating them in the world. So we are portals for those energies, whatever we choose consciously or unconsciously to allow inside of us. So we're always those portals. But when it comes to the Heka activation and you come into this actual surrender, like I said, you surrender everything that you think you are, everything that you think about the world. So you're becoming this way clearer, more pure vessel that can carry frequencies. And because you allow kind of all the junk to be released and let go and pushed aside, you become this kind of tube. We can see it as a tube that is just clear. And so your capacity to be a portal is enhanced, it's amplified. And in the case of Heka, we're talking about the highest light of God. So you become a portal for that. When you are surrendered and lay down in the space, not facilitating, you are the portal too. Lately, Heka has been, I told you earlier, I've watched it evolve constantly. So the frequency is a full consciousness. It knows exactly what we are ready to receive and where it wants us to go. And it has keep evolving and showing us more magic tricks, honestly, that we will be able to use with its frequency and this kind of space. And one of them lately has been the very clear now knowing that we are using the Heka activation space as grid work. And so we're helping the lens to remember who they are, just as we remember who we are. This is quite powerful. This is quite powerful because the same highest light that is coming through for us to remember ourselves as divinity, it's doing the same for the lens and the ley lines of the earth. So it's helping the lens that have carried so much of our distorted imprints as humans, so much of our old paradigm and fears and doubts and blood and tears and terror. It's helping those lens to shift that and to remember their full divine DNA and absolute potential too. So we are working with the great work. And so to come back to your question, we are rising the earth consciousness when we come into the Heka portal. So everyone is a portal for this light, because this light, it cannot do this proper work, this perfect work with the earth, ground, lands, without us as bridges. We are literal bridges. When we stand here, we're just like the bridge from heaven to earth. So if you come into a Heka activation, whether you facilitate, hold the frequency yourself, or surrender and trust within it, trust it within you to rise and do its perfect work, you're actually becoming the bridge and the portal for that to anchor. Also, not just within you or others, but also in the earth. So it's one way to describe it, but yeah, we are these vessels. And of course, there's even deeper. You know, some people, they feel this blueprint is theirs too. It's a part of their soul too. And so those people are ready to become frequency holder and to embody this energy so much that they are it, and that they can open the space to resonate it like an antenna for others to surrender to and remember, and the cycle continues. And that has been happening again and again over the world, with more people surrendering to this frequency and more people becoming facilitators, becoming vessels of it and actual portals for this emanation. And I've been so blessed to be guided to lead these initiations for others and have those incredible souls awaken to their actual power of their service and what their soul is really capable of. And it's miracles that we are observing and manifesting and witnessing. So this is a whole next level of how to be a portal too.
Wow. Wow. What an incredible experience, the awakening of self and love. I would love to know, what do you see this Heka awakening? What is almost the message that it would have for the earth and the people that are called to it, or even watching this video? The energy of Heka and that Sophia Consciousness. Not only what is your vision for it, let's start there. What is your vision of it unfolding continuously?
There is different timelines of the vision. But one very strong vision that has been very alive for a year now, and not just me and my dreams and my meditations, but also other people coming to me with their dreams and their meditation with the same vision. It's big scale. I see thousands and thousands of people receiving the Heka light at the same time. I see that in person and I see it online. We started this year with a friend of mine on YouTube, actually. We did a couple transmission with over 30,000 people receiving at once. And this has been historically groundbreaking of the possibility and the limits that we thought the energy and the container should have, but actually are none. There is no limits to this light and the good it can do. And so I see that. I see festivals of Heka. I see hundreds of people gathered at the pyramids and receiving it. I see a lot of big movements that actually ripple even larger to the consciousness, because Heka is not just raising your own consciousness, working with the lens we are on. It's like raising the global planetary consciousness. So every time we do and we create those fields together and we surrender together, we are giving such a statement, not just in the physical world, but in the entire quantum landscape of life. It's a statement of, here we are all remembering divinity. We are all surrendering and letting go of everything that we are not. We're letting go of the stories of the past and the separation consciousness, and we're here together, united. So I have chills everywhere, because imagine 10,000 people at the pyramids living that. This is not a one-time event. This grounds an energy that lasts forever and that changes the face of the world. So I see Heka changing the face of the world, with more of us coming together and surrendering to this light together. That's the big vision for now.
I felt that. I could feel nature too, just like the power, like feeling it too, just behind you. Its forces all supporting you in this experience, and all the people that are called to continue to allow this light force to just come through. Wow, what a gift. My last question would just be, is there any last message you have from the audience, and even just, from yourself and the energy of this Heka frequency, which are the same thing, Any last things that you feel like are coming through that you'd like to say?
I think that what is coming through right now is to say thank you. Thank you so much for believing in the unspeakable, in the unbelievable. If you're here today, it's because there has been a pathway that you have taken and a lot of courage in your life to show up for the magic, for the mystery, and to trust in that more than the old stories that were still very much reflected in your life. So thank you for believing in the unseen and for continuing to choose the bravest act that you can do, and to choose to continuously open your heart. Open your heart to yourself, to others, to life, to the divine. Let go of the mind and allow this light to move through you more and more. Follow those intuitions. Take those leaps of faith. They are changing everything in your life and in the world. So thank you for continuing to do that, and to explore what hasn't been awakened yet, because we are all remembering together. And if this magic is alive today, it's because a few crazy people believed in the impossible. So let's continue to believe in the impossible, and let's see how far we can go together, because the world is remembering, we are remembering, and light is coming back fully. It's always been here. We're just allowing it more and more. So thank you for being a part. This is a sacred mission and you are so needed. And yeah, I just encourage you to trust yourself. All the magic, all the answers are inside of you. Nothing that I said is outside of you or just in me. No, everything that we just spoke about, it's in you too. So trust that and follow it.
Wow. Wow, thank you. Thank you for your transmissions, for being the vessel and channel for this, for birthing this into the world and sharing this with the audience today. Like, wow, I'm so excited to just watch you continue to blossom in the whole earth and all of those that really trust the calling for this. So thank you for being with me today.
Thank you so much. This was so potent. Yeah, thank you for your questions. I love you so much, Heather.
I love you too. So
thank
deeply.
you.
What an experience.
Yeah.
I'm like, woo, I feel it.
We are on.
Yeah. Open.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Activated, electrified by life.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
My pleasure.